All right, the time is now 4:39 p.m. We had some technical difficulties that may ensue. Thank you for bearing with us. Our first item of business is our Budget 101 and a look at the building of the budget. Mr. Branham.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners. It's budget season, and tonight really kicks it off. I laid on your desk a revised budget memo. It was originally published on 3 March, and I revised it today. Really, the only change is we formally added in the memo of the town hall that we decided to have. So there's really no change in the dates other than that. And then also from the dais is a hard copy of the slides I'll use tonight if they're available. Now I'll just speak to them. People will be available. The slides.
No, I can get to it.
Okay.
I can try to get to the work session, but then I can't do what you want to hear.
I'll just walk our way through them. They're very similar to the slides we did last year, covering the same topics. And it is Budget 101 for FY27, City of Red Bank, Tennessee budget. Brief overview of what I'll speak to tonight, a review of the budget dates, a review of the FY26 or the current year budget, those documents. We'll touch on the mission, vision, and goals. And then we'll look at the process and we'll just have a quick wrap up. So it won't really take a whole long time. Oh, excellent. Thank you, Tracy. This is basically the best view. And we'll scroll down just a little bit. In red, it says their FY26 budget development. All of the documents that we use to build our current budget were available incrementally and have been for about the past year on the website. So everything I'm going to speak to tonight, if you're at home, you can go to our website and find it. So I'll begin with the dates. Tonight is actually budget workshop number 1 of 4. And so those in attendance tonight are eligible for the budget workshop certificate. We'll have another budget workshop on Tuesday the 14th. That's budget workshop number 2. From 5 to 7:30, and that's not typically a commission meeting time, so please note that. We will provide the budget estimate, the city manager's budget estimate, and we'll hear from 3 departments, police, fire, and court. The next budget workshop number 3 is Tuesday the 21st. That, like tonight, is a regularly scheduled commission meeting, so we'll start a little early again, work session. And the focus on that is the capital improvement plan. We're very excited to have first ever conversation about that. We've done a lot of work and I'm excited to bring that forward to the commission and to the community we serve. The 4th budget workshop is on Tuesday the 28th, and that is not typically a commission meeting night, and it will be from 5 to 7:30, and we'll pick up the last 3 departments, Public Works, Community Development, and Administration and Finance or City Hall. Then on Tuesday, the 5th of May, we're anticipating an open discussion at the regularly scheduled work session meeting. So the commission can just discuss all the things that they've heard. We'll have heard from all 6 departments and the capital improvement plan, and you'll have the budget estimate to kind of bounce those things off of. Then on Tuesday, the 12th of May, we're proposing a budget we have scheduled a budget town hall. That will be at the community center, starting at 5. And I'm billing that as an interactive budget presentation and discussion. So our goal is when you walk in the community center, all around the room is poster boards talking about budget things, each department, some special issues such as the capital plan. There'll be people at each of the boards, interactive, people can talk. And then there'll be a period of that time for presentation as well. So a lot of good discussion in that first ever, to my knowledge, budget town hall environment. Then we're proposing on Tuesday the 19th at regular commission work session and meeting, the first reading of the proposed budget. And on Tuesday the 2nd of June, again at the regular commission meeting, the second reading of the proposed budget, and when it passes, it becomes the adopted budget. So kind of in a macro sense, April is discussion, May is discernment, and June is decision. And that's kind of a good framework to keep in mind as we go through this budget process.
Can I make one little look at your statement?
Yes, ma'am.
On June 2nd, Tuesday, is that supposed to be FY 27? It says 26.
Oh, yes, that's a typo. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Pardon the interruption.
Thank you. My next slide, review of FY 26 budget packet, which is the current year documents. It's all available on our website. There is a button on the homepage that says budget, but if you navigate, it goes to departments, administration, finance, and then you get to this page right here. And I'll just speak to a couple of the key documents there. These were developed about this time last year. The first one is the guide to the Red Bank budget. And you don't need to click on it, Tracy, but just hover over it. It is right here. It's this one right here. Guide to the Red Bank budget.
Oh.
That is a 4-page code breaker. It's probably the best 4 pages anybody can read if they really want to understand the budget. It talks about the actually 6 budgets. It talks about the revenues. It talks about staffing. It talks about some specific features of the budget. So I really commend anybody who's interested in our budget or a budget process, read that guide to the Red Bank FY 26 budget. Then next up, we have the proposed FY 26 budget. And if you would just hover up right, there you go. That is 32 pages of spreadsheets. That's all the numbers. Every number you could ever want to see or talk about is in that 32 pages across all 6 budgets, revenues, and expenditures. The problem with it is just a spreadsheet. It doesn't really tell the story. You need the companion guide and the spreadsheets, and then the story starts to emerge. But wait, there's more. These 7 other documents, and those are sprinkled out here too. The first one is mine, the city manager FY 26 budget message, and that's one of those right there. That's a 3-page document that talks about citywide things like the COLA and some other citywide issues and major initiatives in the budget. Then there's 6 department memos. So if you're really interested in what Chief Seymour is thinking or what Director Tate is thinking, go to that department's director's budget memo, the director or the chief's budget memo, and you can really understand what is happening in that department. So for last year, across those 7 documents, it was 21 total pages that really told the story. So you have the guide, the spreadsheet, and each of the department budget memos, and that totality, that body of work emerges in the story, what we're going to do and how much it's going to cost and how we're going to pay for it. It's all in there. We also have a Q&A because there's some things that really just need to be discussed separately. Like what does it mean to be an employer of choice? That kind of conversation is found in the Q&A. What is the fire chief's concerns about the nature of fire and the changing nature of fire? That's in the Q&A. So it's a very rich document. That's 21 pages. Then there's a few special exhibits, like our jobs by grade, which lists every employee's salary. That's 1 page, and then any proposed use of debt. So you add up all those pages, and for FY 26 across those documents, it was 80 pages in total. To print it out, it's a pretty thick document, and I'm really glad we're not printing it out anymore. We're just showing where you can find it on the web. And by the end of June, we'll have a similar set of documents for FY 27. Now I'm pivoting to mission and vision and goals because the retreat on the 24th of February, the 5th annual commission retreat, informed our thinking as staff is developing our proposed budget. The mission, oh, thank you, Tracy. That's Hannah's report in there. We also have a resolution, but the mission is the City of Red Bank is a safe and thriving community with an engaging, transparent government that builds on our rich history, provides excellent and efficient services, and welcomes all. Our vision? Red Bank strives for a vibrant, growing, and inclusive community by pursuing excellence, enhancing safety, celebrating our neighborhood character, and stewarding our natural landscapes. And lastly, our 5 commission goals and the commission champions are, in no particular order, develop safe streets for all, a comprehensive and safe multimodal transportation network for all users. Champion is Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Finalize capital improvement plan and priorities projects. Commission champion is Commissioner Holmes. Explore sewer expansion options following the option of the Unified Development Code. Commission Champion is Vice Mayor Bering. Implementation of Parks and Recreation Master Plan, including activation of the former Red Bank Middle School site and National Park Service compliance to development of the Hickson site. Commission Champion is Commissioner Wilkinson. Pursue removal of Springer's Branch from the state's impaired water list. Commission Champion is Mike Dalton. Now we'll talk through some of the key features of the budget process. It is similar to the dates we mentioned, but it is a little bit more. Preparation began with the FY 27 budget with attendance at the Chamber of Commerce 2026 Economic Outlook Breakfast in February. And conversations shortly thereafter began with department directors in early March. The budget dates for the FY 27 were established as published on 3 March and revised tonight, so we have that memo. We are anticipating 4 budget workshops, all 4 Tuesdays in April, 7, 14, 21, and 28. Citizens who earn the Budget Academy certificates will be recognized at the first reading of the budget ordinance. The city charter requires the city manager to present the budget estimate to the commission no later than 15 May of each year, and we're scheduled to do that in April this year. The budget process also sets the property tax rate. We do have a town hall scheduled for Tuesday the 12th, 5 p.m. at the community center. In Red Bank, any ordinance requires 2 readings, and the 2 readings for the budget ordinance are set for 19 May and 2 June. An enactment occurs upon passing a second reading. It becomes the adopted budget and will take effect 1 July 2026 and runs through 30 June 2027. The CFO must file the budget in a very specific format with the comptroller within 15 days of adoption. It's required by statute, and it's also the criteria to be recognized for budget excellence by the comptroller. Lastly, I'll just encourage everybody to stay informed. Our Facebook is absolutely loaded. Our Facebook in particular with all the events and dates, not only budget but otherwise. Our Instagram page is really good, our webpage. Subscribe to the community newsletter. Attend a commission meeting. Lots of ways to stay informed. And then lastly, for those who are able to see this PowerPoint presentation, I have the bubble chart of the city. This is the organization that gets it all done, and the people who are making it happen. And I would like to highlight on the lower left our key partners. We don't do it alone as a city. We have a lot of support and key relationships with agencies and businesses and nonprofits. Mayor, we have to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Branham.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do you have any questions at this time? This will start next week, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited to be here at the precipice of this, my 5th budget cycle for the city right now.
All right. Moving on to item 2 on the consent agenda, agreement with Edmunds for finance and parks and rec management for $21,207.29 per year, resolution number 26-1890. Director Gary.
Sorry, I'm not really here to this, but we have been using NextGen Local Gov for a very long time. I don't know how long. And it just doesn't have the functionality that we need. So we have found Edmunds GovTech, and it will replace the previous software you approved for payroll and HR is going to take the place of the payroll portion. And this will replace all the finance, the rest of the finance portions. It's also going to add functionality for Parks and Recreation, so they can do programming, take payments online. And it's actually going to save us about $3,000 a year by changing our software. So we're going to get more functionality for less cost.
Excellent. On the sales order that was listed, it has like a separate, professional services implementation fee, and it also has a conversion fee. That's not included in this $21,207?
No, the conversion fee that will be an FY 26 expense.
Okay.
The rest of it, the $14.99 for the professional services implementation, and the first year subscription will be an FY 27 expense.
Okay.
I do have a question. The professional services, thank you. Does that include training
Yes, ma'am.
with you and others in the
The entire
office?
finance support department,
Parks and Rec?
yeah, Parks and Rec. I'm not sure if this one's gonna include the department heads or not, but it's gonna be the finance and Parks and Rec.
And that's to get it started the first year, and after that, it's the 21,207. That's the year.
Per year, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And this is, all, in addition to increasing functionality, it's also reducing our use of paper, yes?
Oh, yes, yes, because it's gonna, actually, the other software also is gonna reduce software or paper because we won't have paper time sheets anymore.
Right. Hallelujah.
Reporting is gonna be better. It's just gonna be better.
There's a lot more that will be available, you guys will be able to allow digitally.
Oh, yeah, it has a budgeting function that we're really excited about.
Okay.
It can forecast. Okay, you want to say anything?
It also includes the requests, like purchase order requests, and it has a workflow.
Yeah, it's like
That's included in
the procurement workflow, so there's not gonna, probably won't be paper, requisitions and POs anymore. It's gonna streamline a lot of things.
And save us money. And more money on paper supplies and things like that, so sounds like a win all around. Do we have any other questions about the software?
I'll ask one more question.
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Perry, have you found out who else uses this program? Edmonds Ecos.
I want,
Signal Mountain.
yeah, Signal Mountain, I think
They've used it for about 3 years.
it was a Cookville also uses it.
They would recommend it. Thank you.
All right, if no more questions, we'll move on to item 3 on the consent agenda, approve contract with Bravo Fence for replacement of kids' corner fence in the amount of $10,529. Resolution number 26-1891. Director King.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners. This resolution before you is to request approval to replace the existing fence around the Kids Corner Playground. The current fence was installed around 1995 when the original wooden playground structure was constructed. And while the playground itself was replaced in 2018, the fence was not, and it has remained the same fence since 1995 and has just been maintained by Public Works. Many sections of the fence are now rotten and unstable, and due to age and long-term wood and rot in the ground posts. Excuse me. In several locations, the fence no longer provides the level of security that we expect for a children's play area, and continued repairs are no longer cost-effective, and full replacement is necessary to maintain safety and facility standards. This project authorizes the complete removal and replacement of the fence by Bravo Fence Company, and following the city's procurement policy and competitive price quoting. The total cost will include a contingency not to exceed, will also include a contingency and will not exceed $11,055, and will be funded using the available ARPA funds that were previously approved for facility improvements. It is also important to recognize the historical and community value of the existing fence. When the original playground was built, children from the communities and volunteers placed their handprints on a section of the wooden pickets that make up a portion of the exterior fence. These handprints represent a meaningful moment in the city's history and a true community effort. Rather than losing that history, this resolution allows Public Works to carefully remove and preserve those hand-printed pickets with the intent to create a permanent memorial inside the playground itself. This memorial will honor the families, children, and volunteers who helped build Kids Corner, and will be designed in a way that can withstand time with proper preservation. In short, this resolution ensures the playground remains safe for today's children, while respectfully preserving the important part of its past for future generations.
It's precious. I'm so glad you all are going to be able to.
I think some of my children's handprints are on there.
Aw. Yes, I would hate to see them just thrown in the dumpster, so.
Yeah, there have been a couple of people approached me, what are they gonna do with that? Because it is history, so I really appreciate the idea.
Well, that was the first.
Whatever you design, that will be a continuation.
Well, Justin Hedrick, we discussed it, and that was our first concern, was what do we do to preserve that? And Justin has laid out a plan to take those pickets and to put them on a wall inside in a place that doesn't have a play feature around it, and just make a memorial wall of those, and it'll be in one place where we can actually maintain and preserve those. So that was first consideration before we even started talking about replacing the fence, was preservation.
Excuse me, what's the material of the new fence?
It's gonna be the same material. It's gonna be a wooden fence.
Okay.
And wooden fence, we're still gonna use chain link gates because they're a lot of weight. We had wooden gates before, but they were so heavy, they would bend over time and hard to open and close, especially for mothers with a toddler and carrying one. So
Will there be handprints on the new fence?
not on the new fence. We don't have that capability. That's why we're preserving the existing ones. And who would you put on the new fence? You know, a couple of public works guys.
No, I meant the children's handprints.
Yes. Well,
Like,
it wouldn't be cost effective to transfer all those. It would cost way more than the fence itself would
no, I'm
cost.
just talking about the children now,
Yeah.
putting their new handprints on the new fence.
No, ma'am, we didn't consider that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because, and those handprints, like I said, those were volunteers that built the playground. My father-in-law, he was one of the workers that helped do that. And, you know, I remember a particular day, he told me he was taking my two oldest children, who were probably 5 and 6 at the time, and he was taking them over there to have their prints put on the wall. And I'll be honest, I never really took time to go over there and research them, other than the fact that he told me he was doing that. But there are a lot of handprints for children.
Any other questions or comments? All right, if not, thank you. We will move on to item 4 on our consent agenda, recognize National Telecommunications Week as April 12 through 18, 2026, resolution number 26-1892.
And we try to recognize our telecommunicators each year. And this year, I was just gonna give you some stats. During the calendar year of 2025, Hamilton County telecommunicators aided Red Bank first responders by promptly receiving and expertly directing a total of 11,502 calls to Red Bank for assistance, of which 923 were related to fire and 10,502 were related to police. The telecommunicators exhibit compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job every day. So we ask that the City Commission hereby proclaim the week of April 12th through 18th, 2026 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, and join in honoring the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any comments about that? This time? All right, moving on to item 5 on our consent agenda, authorizing the allocation and expenditure of interest earned on American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, state and local fiscal recovery funds, SRF, resolution number 26-1894, Director Slay. And
I apologize, I was supposed to change that to the city manager.
oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Baker.
Darn, I thought I was gonna get out of this
Still
one.
here to help.
I thought I was gonna get out of this one. I'll just have a conversation about this. When staff was teeing this up, it seemed appropriate to do 2 things at once. Sunset the remaining ARPA money and execute a project that we've talked about for quite some time, the mural at Facebook across the street from Food City. So that's what this resolution does. Since we've created an agenda, we've got a lot of feedback from a lot of different voices in the community and in this room. And I'm really not sure what the commission wants to do. So from a staff standpoint, hearing feedback from our own staff, they don't really want to sunset the ARPA money just yet. They'd like to make one more pass, still within the buckets that were originally established: transformation, facility, those buckets. But what we're talking about here really is interest that's been earned on the ARPA money. And so, Director Slade, you happen to have that number?
Yeah. Our CFO, Chris Pickle, did run us an updated number as of this month, April. The interest earned is $153,472.04.
Say that again, 153.
153,472.04.
So we were proposing that we essentially zero out the whole ARPA, and that's what the resolution was intending to do. But staff has asked me to request it to commission, and I think procedurally, the way it would wind up now that's been agended is to bring it up in regular session and vote it down. And in the discussion of that, it would be to give staff guidance on how the commission wants it to be revisited. And so in conversation here at work session, what I would recommend is that we break those two issues up. We have guidance from the commission about how we want to spend down the ARPA money. And staff is suggesting we make one more round of that as staff and come to you how we would recommend we spend that down. And I do envision some balance ultimately just going to general fund, just going back to fund balance. But in particular, the CIO has some investments that he would recommend we make for digital needs. So we take on the remaining ARPA interest money separately. And then we have a separate conversation around the mural. And I have heard from a lot of voices in the last day or two on that. And I'll just propose maybe a starting point for conversation with the commission that we continue to champion that as a project, but we throttle back slightly the city's investment in that. So we have roughly about $13,000 dedicated from the Red Bank and Soddy Daisy Charitable Foundation, last year's allocation. So that's starting to get a little long in the tooth. That was what motivated me to bring this to a decision point, because we've been sitting on that commitment for over a year now. That we envision this about $150,000. We don't know because we haven't really started the effort, but that's a very reasonable budget amount to begin this project with that in mind. And it's about $150,000 worth of work. There's some prep work, there's scaffolding work, there's traffic control work. It's a fairly complicated project to execute. And then of course there's the artist and the art itself. So from a budget standpoint, thinking that this is about $150,000 worth of work, we've got, say, about 10,000 already, so we're looking at about 140,000. It was suggested to me, and I think it's a reasonable starting point for the conversation, that the city commit $70,000 of our remaining ARPA interest money, and then go out and solicit the community and foundations and philanthropy and challenge, maybe get our advisory board to find that other 70,000 as a match to the city 70. So when you wind up with it, you have somewhere less than half of the total project is city money, and it's actually not property tax money, it's interest on the ARPA money, to the tune of about 70. We have the 10 plus from Soddy Daisy Charitable Foundation, and we go fundraise and find the rest of it. And I think that's a reasonable strategy that would put us on a, get everybody who wants to make this happen, get them empowered to go help us raise some money.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
You bet.
If I can ask Mr. Stoltz a question, as far as this agenda item, I think it is on our consent agenda. So if we were not going to necessarily vote on it today, we would have to pull it out. But Mr.
Yes.
Branham made a comment about voting it down today for further conversation. What would be your recommendation?
There had been discussion of just tabling it, but when you table something, you need to table it to a date and
Sure.
it comes back in the same form that it
Mhm.
did. And then you'd be talking about perhaps amending to do something else that staff did.
Okay.
And it seemed the easier, cleaner mechanism to just vote it down in its present format so as to allow administration to revisit the whole topic
Mhm.
and then to bring it up with, with the commission's guidance with maybe a couple of more meetings, since you all don't have anything else to do in these next few weeks.
So I think what we.
Correct.
That would be a cleaner way than trying to pick a date and then bring it back and then amend it and all that sort of stuff.
Okay,
So to your point, Mayor, we would pull it off the consent, would be the first thing.
sure.
And then as it reappears as new business, bring it up for vote and hopefully vote it down.
Okay,
And that kind of puts to bed this particular form of action. Then we can come back and address the two issues separately.
okay. Just for clarification, Ms. Pickle, I thought I heard you say 14,000?
Yes,
Okay, from the Saudi Daisy Charitable
yes.
Foundation.
We've
Okay,
already
that's
spent
still-
7, and then the 14 is what's left for
Okay, for
over there.
that was intended to go toward that, and we applied for that T-Mobile grant that we did not get, but, can be reapplied for in the future.
Sure, sure.
Um,
And in
But-
all honesty, at the end of the day, we do need to take action, or we need to reach back out to the foundation for
Sure.
clarity on what their recommended next step would be.
if they want us to continue to just keep it reserved there for that, or if they want us to use it and then they want to pick another project that it would apply for.
Just keeping them
potentially.
informed as to what our intent is and what our committee goals are.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Would it be, excuse me, would the new direction be in 2 resolutions?
Yes, it would be.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have one set of decisions for the commission about the ARPA money and a separate about how we want to proceed with the mural.
Okay.
And those won't take too long to tee up. We're talking in the next commission meeting or two. As Arnold said, it's busy, but we won't, this isn't tabling it indefinitely.
okay. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm in support of this plan. I think that there's a huge appetite for a big, impactful, high visibility project like the one we're talking about, which for anybody who's not in the loop, we're talking about the retaining wall on Morrison Springs Road across from Food City and underneath that church, which is owned by the city. That is one of, or I won't say one of, as far as I'm aware, that is the most highly visible, highly trafficked, city-owned, vertical mural. I won't say mural ready because it does require quite a bit of prep work, but mural inviting locations. So it really would be transformative for our city. We talk, it's not currently in our top 5 goals, but it has been in the past, and it's always talked about beautification for our city. We have in our vision statement, vibrancy, celebrating our neighborhood character, and a mural of sufficient support. And so I think, as people say, foundations like to see skin in the game. And so allocating some of our own ARPA interest funds towards this project, formally committing those funds and giving our public art board that leverage to go out and try to use that to secure additional outside funding to close that gap on that project would be an amazing opportunity. I think a really prudent way to try to bring this project to life. Anyone have any other comments?
For me personally, I am not really comfortable supporting that level of investment at this time, just because we know that costs are going up really a lot right now with gas. Grocery costs are up for everybody. We know we're gonna have to talk about taxes related to the property tax assessor error that we faced last year. We already were gonna be nearly $800,000 short of what we had budgeted for. We pulled back on some of that, but we're still gonna end up with a deficit. And everybody knows that I love public art. We've all been in favor of that, but I'm not sure that now is the right time to make that investment. When we have basically gift funds, these are interest funds that we have held on to for 3+ or will that have been accruing for 3+ years, since we got the COVID funds, COVID relief funds. And if we were gonna do anything, you know, we have 14,000, if it's $150,000 project potentially, if I'm just being like a logical person, TDOT is usually 80-20. If we did 20% of that, that would be like, what, 30,000 or something like that. I would be amenable to having that discussion. But knowing that we're already gonna have to be talking about taxes this year. And it's already really hard for everybody right now. We don't know what things are going to continue to look like, with foreign affairs. I'm just very concerned about committing any level, like a large amount of money that could be used to offset other operational and personnel costs in the budget that's coming up. I want this to happen, but I do feel like it's a great project. It's just maybe not a great time to be pursuing that. But that's just my personal opinion. And so obviously we'll have more discussion about that at a future date, but if anybody else has any comments or questions.
I will push back against that a bit because, you know, these ARPA interest funds are a one-time revenue source. So I would lean against using them for any kind of operational personnel expenses because those are recurring expenses. So that could close the gap a few cents. I apologize for putting you on the spot. Do you happen to recall how many each penny of property tax?
$50,614.
Yes. Okay, so this could offset $0.015 of property tax increase for this year alone, and then next year it would be gone. So I don't see this really moving the needle in any significant way in that, you know, property tax discussion, but I do see it moving the needle significantly in terms of our community's sense of pride, sense of place and ownership, and, you know, daily improvement to our day-to-day lives. So I would say, you know, it's never the right time to invest in art. Art is always something that adds to our day-to-day lives in a really uncountable way. And so it's always something that's easy to put off. It's always the first thing that gets cut in public schools. There's never a right time, because it's always not just about survival, it's about thriving. And I like to see our community thriving out in the open.
Yes, I agree. And I will just, the only the caveat to that I will say is we know that we want to start development on the middle school property and the Hickson property. And those are like isolated costs. You know, we send something toward a certain development that's not a recurring cost. I didn't bring that up because that's in our capital improvement, you know, plan proposal that we'll be seeing here in a few weeks. But knowing that, you know, looking at potentially taking out debt service for those items that are also equally important, we know that those are things that our community's been asking for a long time. Compliance with the National Park Service and development of middle school property. So those things have, in my mind, have a more like physically tangible impact on our community. And I'm afraid that if we don't invest in those spaces, our community will really question how we're making plans for the future of the city. So those have been things that have been on our radar for a really long time. And that's where my mind is going with those dollars, is thinking that could help offset some debt service costs for those, like initial development of those properties. So that, I just wanted to say that, but I think Commissioner wanted, wants to say something.
The interest on this money is ours to spend. It's
Yes,
not
ma'am.
directly with ARPA. So there's
right.
some
It's just-
leeway and freedom.
Absolutely. And anything that, any expense that the commission is otherwise authorized to do is eligible for funding with this money.
Including, we could even, if we wanted to, just throw it back into the general fund.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Just like there for
Spend
whatever.
it or save it.
Yeah. or to reduce whatever deficit we're gonna be facing at the end of this year. Was that the end of your comment? Yes. Commissioner, sorry.
I just want to say, if we do not commit these funds now, if this commission is not willing to commit $70,000 of ARPA interest earning funds, I begin to be pessimistic about when the city will be willing to commit its own funds to this project. Because next year there won't be ARPA interest funds. Next year, if we talk about funding this project, we'll be talking about funding it directly out of the general fund, out of property taxes. So if there's not an appetite to allocate this, bonus money, even to fund less than half of this project, to provide leverage that the public art board is going to need to probably spend months, if not a year, leveraging to secure the rest of that funding. I don't see when this mural ever happens. I don't see it happening next year. I don't see it happening 2, 3, 5 years from now necessarily. So I see this as a real inflection point of a moment of action that we need to commit. If we really want this mural to exist in our community and its priority, that we need to prioritize it now. And I think the staff needs a consensus, a head nod from commission for a direction for what to present to us at the next commission meeting or two.
It'd be helpful, yes, ma'am, it would be helpful.
So
If we could hear from all voices on kind of just a sense of where their head's at, that would be great.
So we still haven't heard from 2 of our commissioners, so I'd like to hear, considering the public split on this issue, where you all stand.
Well, I'll still need time to think about and process what I would suggest. So I don't have anything to say right this second, but I feel in hours and days.
I tend to agree with the vice mayor on this. It's sort of one of those, I think you make a great point too there. Sort of one of those kind of no return investments, maybe. It's a placemaking activity. It's kind of hard to frame succinctly, but it turns a non-place into a place. Adds character that I think our city visibly needs. There are. Sorry, it's been a long day. There are. I think for $150,000, it's a pretty high impact project. I mean, it is literally the biggest flat space in our city. Vertical flat space, and the amount of eyes that drive by that is it's pretty dramatic. So we give Red Bank a piece of character with that, and maybe they'll see what I say. Oh, I really like that. They'll pay a little bit closer attention and see the electrical boxes that are also more colorful than they were before, and the murals up and down Dayton Boulevard. And maybe that sets a trend for mural city test or something like that. I don't know, I'm kind of extrapolating here, but I think that trying to address your point too, Mayor. Yes, we have done some dumping, and I think we have through a strictly fiscally conservative lens, we could do more. But there's this tipping point of how much is too much, and what it feels right. Kind of rambling here, but I think I tend to fall into the vice mayor's.
I do appreciate the idea of investment on surroundings. Do we give that a time period for the 70,000 to be brought in to secure the 70,000 and then the Soddy Daisy charitable and to make sure it does go?
We can frame up a resolution for the commission to consider that would have a time frame. And I think that's helpful, it really focuses us. You know, my concern is the Society of Daisy Charitable Foundation's been on the table for a little over a year now, and we need to fulfill our commitment to them or have a conversation with them about how otherwise they would be inclined to let us invest in. There are opportunities that I think, you know, the nature of their donation to us was around the issue of art. The other part of this project was the bathroom at the Kids Corner, which is magnificent. And so in talking about the impact of these art investments are significant and felt community-wide. But the commission is pretty evenly split. So how about if I take for action, we tee up a proposal that is kind of puts us in the go mode at this 70,000 level, and we'll bring it into commission, and that will be a fulcrum for the commission on the record to make a decision where they're comfortable with drawing the line in terms of city investment. And we're talking about, again, the interest money on the ARPA, so we're not talking about general fund. And this is a difficult issue, so I appreciate all sides of this conversation, just as a resident of the city myself. Thank you, Mayor. Is that satisfactory to leave it at that point?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Commissioners.
All right, moving on to Item 6 on our consent agenda, declare vacant the office of the judge of the city court for the city of Red Bank, Tennessee. Resolution number 26-1893, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Unfortunately, my task this evening doesn't get any easier bringing this topic up. Thank you. In your packet tonight is in two places. In the work session packet is two key documents. One is from the Board of Professional Responsibility, where their purview is whether you're a licensed attorney in the state of Tennessee. And they have decided to place Johnny D. Houston Jr. in the disability inactive status. And that's a key decision on the part of that body. The next page in your work session packet on page 18 is a finding, an order from the Supreme Court of the state of Tennessee, based upon feedback they got from the receiver of Judge Houston's private practice, as well as his medical provider. They have determined he's incapacitated to continue the practice of law, and again, transferred him into disability inactive status. Those two actions on the part of those two bodies really set you up as a commission to do what our city charter then requires. The city charter establishes a timeline for vacancy, which we have now exceeded. And so that's how we wind up at this decision point. It's the findings from these professional bodies and the Supreme Court and the criteria and timeline established in our city charter. So then you go to the resolution itself, which is in the work session packet, and it's resolution 26-1893. And that's a weighty one. There's a lot of whereases there that really step us through all the decision points. But I'll just cut to the chase. There is resolutions, and we're on page 17 of our work session packet, that determines he is not licensed to practice law in the state of Tennessee. He has been unable to perform as our judge since the 9th of October, and therefore this resolution would declare the office vacant. But I am going to ask the commission to amend the paragraph 3, the third resolved statement. It currently reads at the end, and fill the vacancy until the office can be filled at the August 2026 general election. And I'd like to strike those last 4 words and replace the words August 2026 general election with these 4 words, next appropriate election date. And the reason I'm suggesting that is we've already missed the timeline for the August 2026 election, so that's not doable. By giving us the flexibility of the next appropriate election date, we will pursue the earliest doable election date, and that's likely to be November, but we have not had confirmation from the election commission that we would be able to place it on the November ballot. So there's some staff work. Myself, State Recorder Perry, and City Attorney Stoltz usually work that issue with the election commission on behalf of all of our election issues. So we need a little time to work that. So we're aiming for November, but we've appreciated the language on this resolution said simply next appropriate election date. And that would be an amendment to the resolution that's before you.
Which page is that?
It's on page 17 of 31 in the packet.
Okay, 17, thank you.
It's the third paragraph that under resolved at the end. Yeah, the regular.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just going to ask, since it needs to be amended, then we need to pull it out of the consent agenda?
Yes. That'd be a better way to do it.
Did you have another question, Commissioner? I'm sorry.
Thank you. Would it be too expensive to have a special election?
We may encounter some costs, I don't know. That's part of the staff work we need to do with the election commission. I mean, there is a fee, but I don't think it'll be any extra. It won't be any more than it typically would be if we match up with an established election date.
Which would be in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
That would, I think, change the cycle of the election too, but that's part of the conversation we have to have with the election commission, what it does to our every 8-year election. I don't know that we're going to stay permanently on that atypical date because typically judges are in the May election, right? Or August election. August election. So we're out of cycle with that. And that's the larger issue we need to determine with the elections commission, what it means to have a judge coming up out of the routine judge cycle.
They do special elections all the time, so it just, in my mind, it would still expire, at the end of when his term was set.
You have a slightly shorter term.
He would have just been elected at a special,
Yes.
Exactly. So, but hopefully, you guys will be able to get some clarification on that soon.
Yes, ma'am.
From the election commission.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioners.
And just one more question with that, actually, as far as, we have, according to our charter, appointed Judge Brian Haas every 30 days. Will we have to continue to do that, or what's the next step?
The charter presupposes that we can now, once the office is formally declared vacant, that one resolution will appoint someone until the next qualifying election.
Okay, so that,
Or until we set a special election. We had that option as well.
will that be something we will
Mo-
look to be doing soon?
Most likely at the next meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 7, third quarter budget amendment. First reading, ordinance number 26-1302.
So this is the third quarter budget amendments, just like you mentioned. These are just routine, expenditures. Most of these, we have seen, it looks like, the majority of them are over $10,000. So you've already seen them in these purchases. So the general fund, the total is $130,300. And in stormwater, it's $4,000. For stormwater, it's the fever removal and the monitoring, the dam removal. I'm sure you guys have seen the work that was going on there. So that was not budgeted, and so we needed to amend the budget for that expenditure. The other things that we have in the general fund are the EV lighting truck. I think we're purchasing that from.
It was purchased. We had one that had been previously ordered, and then we added this second one.
Then we have the Carta paratransit continuation. You guys have, that's 50,000. We're also moving that from State Street Main over to general fund with that one. You guys had already put that one. The cleanup at the 1803 Dayton Boulevard for 15,000. The single audit fee, which is 7,000, that was not included in the original budgeted price for our auditors. But we still have to do the single audit since we have the federal funds. That we just talked about earlier, the ARPA section. And then the yellow book appraisal related to the LWCO conversion, which is the $9,000.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Baker? Okay, thank you very much. And moving on to item 8, proposed speed limit reduction from Stringer's Ridge Tunnel to Hedgewood Drive, ordinance number 26-1303. Director Tate and Chief Sealer.
Go ahead. Thank you. Let me point out one thing before I have a 3-point prepared statement that covers this. In the ordinance, in the title, it says from the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel to Signal Mountain Road. I don't know if that was an oversight on my part. It probably was. But in the body, it describes the location as from the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel to the intersection at Hedgewood Drive. So I just wanted to make that clear. That's just, there's an omission. I guess we can correct that, before we have the second reading, but the body is correct from the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel to the intersection. To Hedgewood. Okay. Yes. So I prepared a statement that I hope covers all of this. And it simply says, staff is proposing an ordinance to lower the posted speed limit on State Route 8, Dayton Boulevard along the intersection that begins just north of the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel and continues north past Signal Mountain Road, ending at Hedgewood Drive. And what is changing? The posted speed limit would change from 40 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour on this section of Dayton Boulevard. The ordinance describes the area as starting approximately 230 feet north of the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel entrance and continuing to the intersection with Signal Mountain Road and then continuing north to Hedgewood Drive, which is approximately 0.93 miles. Why the city is making this change now? This proposal is tied directly to recent road work that the Tennessee Department of Transportation, when they resurfaced and restriped this corridor after repaving the reference section of State Route 8. The restriping included lengthy reconfigurations that changed the roadway from its previous layout to 3 vehicle travel lanes and added dedicated bicycle lanes. In simple terms, the street is now designed differently than before, including narrower lanes, added bike facilities, and updated traffic flow patterns. Because the physical design changed, the city believes the posted speed limit should match the new design to help improve safety for everyone using the corridor, drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians. In addition to this change is supported by law enforcement crash reports and recent traffic mobility studies funded by TDOT, both of which recommended adjustments to improve safety and operations along this segment. It included as background information for residents alongside the engineering and safety review in the ordinance. What residents should expect, if adopted, the new speed limit would take effect after the second and final reading and once proper speed limit signs are installed in line with the Manual of Uniform Traffic Code devices. The goal is straightforward, a safer, more predictable corridor that reflects today's roadway layout and reduces the risk of serious crashes. And my partner.
Mr. Tate, on that, this is consistent with the Cherokee Boulevard route as well.
Yes. Yeah, they did the same thing along Cherokee Boulevard. Chattanooga's already lowered their speed limits.
Just a technical question. Should it technically read from the city limits to Hedgewood Drive? Because technically that north end of the tunnel's Chattanooga still.
Yeah, it's in the ordinance. It says the city limits from 234 feet north of the tunnel entrance where the city limits.
That's just a caption.
I agree. Yeah. Back here. Okay, intersection Dayton Boulevard and Hedgewood Drive. Yeah. Well, back to this. Okay, Chief was just pointing out the second whereas also says Signal Mountain Road.
So we can correct that at second reading.
On second reading, yes, sir. Yeah, in the body where the now therefore is correctly lays it out as to the intersection, it's just before drive.
Mr. Stoltz, do we need an amendment to change it? Okay, so it's there, we'll need to hear that as an amendment.
So,
I want it as well, but I sure did.
Okay, you're gonna have to remind me to get to it. Trying to make changes to all the other things.
I'm sorry, Mayor, we're keeping you busy.
Okay. All right, any further questions for Director Tate about that proposed speed bump change?
I just want to say thank you for bringing this before us. This is the order of operations I love to see, redesign first for road safety, followed by an appropriate speed limit signs.
thank you.
Staff.
Excellent, thank you, sir. We'll move on to item 9, proposed speed limit change on Ashland Terrace and on Dayton Boulevard in the downtown area, ordinance number 26-1304. Director Tate, would you see that?
You have something written for that? The floor is yours, sir, because I'm here to follow up with you on that. So, of course, we've been here before for several meetings, right, discussing about different speed limit zones and all, changing those. And so this is to kind of go along with another one that's on here as far as the school zones. But traffic studies were done, by barge for our downtown area and of course on Dayton Boulevard. So kind of in alignment with that, the congestion there, we've looked at and proposing that we change the speed limit on Ashland Terrace of its entirety from Dayton Boulevard to the city limits, to the regular speed limit of 35. And then on Dayton Boulevard, from Woodrow, and originally on the ordinance, we have it listed as Leewood. Taking into account the plans from community development as far as talking about a downtown corridor area, we would like to amend what you have there for it to go to start at Crispin, between 35 mile an hour zone between Crispin Street north to Woodrow. That is on is that the original map?
That's the original.
Okay, so you can see the original map we have just from Woodrow to here to Leewood. And then do you have the new one by chance? Okay.
That's what
Yeah, and I've got a printout of it.
I think there's supposed to be a copy.
Show it up there.
I think you're supposed to receive a copy of the new one that showed the extension down to.
It's actually right here,
Chris.
right here. It's extending it so it's incorporated into our proposed Tennessee downtown district as well.
Which will take into former school property, right, and what our development there. All that.
Mayor, I believe you have verbiage for that recommended
I
change.
do have verbiage for that. Yes, thank you for sending that ahead of time.
That was a stab at my coworkers.
Quite simply, the only change is Leewood to Crispin.
Yeah.
All other aspects of the ordinance will remain the same. But what this will do is this will incorporate a larger portion of the downtown's project that I think the commission approved, what, 3 meetings ago. In all reality, we're reducing the speed limit in an area that probably will get more bicycle and pedestrian visitation to keep that speed down.
Any questions or comments this time? Okay. All right, thank you both. And moving on to item 10, proposed establishment of school zones and speed limits, ordinance number 26-1305. Chief Steve Martin, Director Grant.
You're doing a fantastic job. This is yours.
pet project.
It's not my pet project, but the ordinance before you, today, obviously, we've had discussions on it like we mentioned earlier. This does several things. One, it kind of formalizes and clarifies and cleans up, and establishes more clearly all of our school zones within, the city of Red Bank. So it includes Alpine Crest Elementary, includes the Red Bank Middle School and the Red Bank High School. So it establishes those zones, and it also establishes the speed limits for those zones as well. And it adds, yes, thank you. And it adds, because of the addition of One Christian Academy, it adds that school zone and the surrounding streets on it. In your packet, I don't know if we have that. Let's see, this is actually, do you have the? Yeah, we have a map for each one of those school zones of what we're talking. So there, that you're at was a high school, middle school. So it's Tom Weathers Drive and that section of what exists really now, right, where the signs are for the high school and middle school. So the next one, Tracy, please. This is the establishment, still kind of staying consistent with what is established there on Alpine Crest Elementary School. The speed limits there that are there now are still remaining the same for school zone hours. Then we have this new one for Point Christian Academy. So it encompasses, a block as you're approaching the school area, and then the roadways that are around the school as well. I believe the ordinance talks about Ashland Terrace speed limit drops down to 25. And Dayton Boulevard is it what's it, 35?
35. Oh, it's all 25.
Right. And then during school zone hours, and then the
Secondary roads
are 15.
Right. And those won't be, have signal lights, but they will be marked with school zone signage with the hours and times that it's in operation, which is important to stay on.
So this adds into the section in our ordinance on establishing those. That's what this does. So.
Are there any amendments that need to be made to this?
Not that we've not taken this time, but we reserve the right to outline.
Okay. Any other actual questions?
Question, have the neighbors in this area been notified that, there's gonna be a slowdown?
No, ma'am, not yet. We'll get that message out.
And honestly, I mean, those roads, there'll be signage, and we'll have to do some education campaigns for sure.
I can see some drivers skirting around there going into another set of secondary roads just to get around this, which creates danger. I mean, to do it down there on Linden.
We're not even just the school zones, right? We're changing regular speed limits in two other areas of the city. So we'll have to do an educational program and all that, even put out, you see our sign out here, put something out, just, hey, alert me, new speed limit. Slow down. Yes.
I have a question on this. Are there two different ordinances? One, 1304 says Point Christian Academy is being established. There's a fine for this one. Section 2. But then the other one we just talked about with the all 4 school zones. It just talks about what the school zones, what the speed is. So is there a difference?
Because they're already established.
Yeah, there still would be, I'm not exactly sure why, maybe that one location only talks about the fine, but it still would be in our speeding ordinance section. And so the citation would be for speeding. And so that ordinance allows for a $50 fine. So,
In the school zone.
right, we're just speeding.
Specifically. So the ordinances that were established or voted on in the past to establish those school zones, whenever that happened on Marston Springs Road and all that, that would have probably included that penalty fee in that language, possibly.
I can say for sure.
Well, let me say this, I believe from the police department side that it's, established as far as being a city ordinance, that we can issue a citation for city ordinance for speeding. I think we're okay. However, I'll get with our city attorney and have a discussion and verify that, over the second reading.
Yeah, the fine for the offense is baked in the ordinance, but maybe just not specified.
Right. And I think that was the intent, Commissioner, as far as it new to school and just making establishing, but we'll review that for sure. So there might or may not be,
Okay.
Answer is yes.
but not tonight.
Good question. All right, yes, Commissioner?
This is where the Blue Line Solutions radar will help you, correct? Time us down,
Well, that's the
learn
intent.
that we're speeding and.
That's the intent. Those general areas, but, another discussion.
Yes, thank you very much. We will have to stop at least momentarily to allow citizen comments on items on this work session agenda. Mr. Random.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 2 minutes here in work session or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. If time expires, please respect your direction and conclude any comments. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner or to city staff or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. Citizens are now invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Susan McGay, 2618 Berkeley. As a native and aged Red Bank citizen, I urge you these facts. Realize we are a bedroom community, will never be anything but a bedroom community. Any taxes you raise will be on the homeowners, basically. And having lived in Red Bank all my life, I've reached the point where if it raises much more, I will definitely be selling out and living. I can't afford to continue at these high prices. So keep that in mind, and I'm hopeful that the citizens of the city will take that into consideration in voting, so be mindful.
Thank you, Mr. McCabe. All right, if no further comments, is everyone okay if we return to the final items on the agenda? All right, item 11, agreement with Blue Line Solutions, resolution number 26-1895, G.C. Moore.
Hello again.
Hello.
Oh, this is, Tracy, would you find the map for, yes. Thank you. So as part of our greater safety project area, that we've talked about the speed limits, and we've done the presentations on, talked about crashes and speeding data and all that. Our intent's proposing to enter into an agreement with Blue Line Solutions to help us with speed enforcement, biometric speed enforcement. And so we're talking about, and part of it aligns with kind of your question earlier with school zones. It's not all about school zones. Part of what the statute allows for is also S-curves. That's part of our concern, especially like on Ashland Terrace. So what we're looking at doing, the agreement talks about establishing this agreement, which the intent is for our area on Ashland Terrace, kind of from Dayton Boulevard to the city limit, that whole stretch, right? But more so going into the S curves and coming out of them and into that area kind of close to the school. So part of the school zone overlaps into the S curve there as well. The other section we are talking about is also in the area on Morrison Springs, in relation to the high school and middle school as well, in those areas as well. We did a presentation at the last commission meeting. We had some discussions. I think there were questions that had been raised, some good questions over the this last week, and also I can clarify some of those for you. I know there was a question about just kind of rehashing some of the information, because We all forget, and there's so much information thrown at us, so sometimes we don't remember, and I don't remember what I said sometimes. But so these operate, these are speed cameras, right? So they detect a violation, and so somebody with Blue Line Solutions, an employee, verifies the tag information, and it's forwarded here. I say forwarded. It's forwarded into their system. It's what we do is we'll have an officer then log in to then look at and verify the information. So Blue Line actually houses the data, and it's on their servers. None of this will be on our servers as well. It only keeps kind of those that are violations. So there's kind of a question. This does not work like the ALPR system. So it doesn't take a picture of a tag and it retain it for 2 or 3 months if there's no violation. No one retains those that indicates a violation. And then that information has to be entered from the tag into the violation itself and verified. And the officer, when they log in, has to verify that information as well. And then they look to see the violation. Is it the car? Was the school zone active at that time? Was it the S-curve? And then they can either approve it or dismiss or void it out. There's no cost. I think Blue Line kind of asks for that 2-year agreement just so that they can recoup any their cost of actually installing these devices there as well. So I don't know. I'll open it up to any questions. I have a representative here again from Blue Line in case we have questions that I can. Brian, you're welcome to come up or stay there. It doesn't matter. So
I think you're doing a great job.
Question for you. You mentioned that it's not an ALPR. I see here on page 65, section Exhibit B, section 3. It does talk about ALPRs. Kind of buried in there, but DLS may choose to provide automated license plate recognition cameras. So what's
good question?
Yes.
So that is a draft contract, right? That I put in there for informational purposes, right? So kind of the ask is approving this, and then the contract would be reviewed by the city attorney and city manager, right? And we Blue Line and work out the details of that contract. In no way is this intended to be or put up ALPRs as far as part of the speed camera. This is just for a speed camera, speed enforcement itself. They offer ALPR programs, but we are not.
That's not what we're discussing here.
Right.
It's
just language.
Correct.
So I will be straightforward and say I'm not too keen on that. And I don't want to leave that as a back door open for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it can be taken out. No problem.
Well, we're sitting here, public meeting, say our intent's not to use this to do that. It's not Blue Line Solutions. From the get-go, it was about speed cameras, or reinforcement. Right.
Commissioner, question. Does this account for someone passing a bus? Okay, just strictly speed.
In the school zone.
Okay, in school zone.
Or the S-curve.
During the school.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner, I will actually, this is a very random bit of information I received yesterday. But actually Ben Connor, our school board member, just told me yesterday in our Red Bank Way meeting that there is a bill that is waiting to be signed by the governor right now that would allow cameras to be placed on school buses to monitor for people driving through the stop signs when that happens.
Passing the
Yes.
stopping.
Yes, when it's out, and so we can allow them to be able to follow up with those folks. So hopefully Governor Lee has signed it or is getting ready to sign it. So.
It is a law in different states.
Mhm. Hopefully it will be here in Tennessee also soon. I was just wondering at the end of the 2 years, what's the next step after that? Do we just consider renewing for another 2 years? Is that a typical way that you proceed with other cities that you work with? Okay. Okay. And it
And re-up it or
continues to
choose
be
to
no
not.
cost to the city, or is there a cost after a certain period of time?
Well, there's no cost
Okay.
associated with it.
Okay.
Revenue sharing?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh, maybe
Did
it's,
you have?
yeah, I was gonna say, maybe it's a question for the actual meeting, but we're out of time.
Sure.
Could you just rehash the database privacy aspect of all this? Like how long is stuff stored? I know you mentioned that like storage capacity was an issue, but,
It's stored with the National Crime Institute Center, NCIC. All the servers are secured. Our main deal is in Phoenix, Arizona, the National Crime Center. It's stored there, but after so many days, it's purged. I'm not sure what the exact date time is on that.
so who has access to it? Is it BLS and Red Bank, or is there a third party?
No, it's a national crime. It comes through us, just like Red Bank has NCIC. If they're in their car and they run a tag, it's the same thing. We're just going through that. They come and do audits, and then the blinds have to be certain, you know, it's a very secure facility that we have. That you have to do.
Just a reminder, is it only logging license plates of vehicles that speed? It's not taking any record of every plate going through, only in the cases of speed.
Only if they're doing it 11 miles an hour, it triggers the camera.
Otherwise, it has no idea who went through.
Right, so officers can't just go log in, hey, I wonder if ABC 123 went.
No, it doesn't work that way.
It only has to take a snapshot or.
It'll short video. It's like a 1 or 2 second video, and it shows them you put a red dot or a red box in the car.
When there's a violation. And then there has to be verification of that.
And then I was gonna say, like we discussed last time, you said if the license plate does not match the vehicle registration, then it's purged. It's a spoiled.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And when the car is going faster, it triggers and then it has time for the pictures taken. Did I pick up on that last time? Is if it's going 11 miles per hour over, it triggers and then has
It
time.
measures, it's measuring, it's a measuring device, it's LiDAR. Radar shoots a cone out. This is a single beam LiDAR, and it's measuring. So it does time over distance. So if that car is doing 11 over, it's programmed, if it's 25 and that car is doing 36, then it puts a red dot on that car and takes a picture of it.
Commissioner, I
device
think you may be referring to the warning. There's gonna be
3 different warnings.
so as you enter, prior to actually getting where the camera will snap your picture, you're apprised of your speed, that you're speeding. So there's an opportunity for the voters to go, hit the brakes. I think that was maybe the nature of your question.
Well, but where excuse me, where it's triggered and then the picture's taken.
Way inside of all those signage and all that.
It's usually between the last sign that the city manager mentioned. It's about 300 to 600 feet after that sign, because it's 85 feet beyond where the poles will be stationed at. So the laser beam's pointing 85 feet out there in the road. So when you see the pole, you still have almost 100 feet.
All right.
We're past time.
Any other questions?
For
Okay. If not, we will, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
We will go ahead and adjourn our work session and take a very brief break. And we will return